Welcome to the Special Education Data Reporting Managers Training, September 2022. The agenda items will be Indicators 7, Indicator 8, Indicators 11 and 12, Table 8, MOE and CEIS, Significant Disproportionality, Tables 1 and 3, Indicators 5 and 6, Parentally Placed Private School Children, Announcements, and Contacts and Questions. Enrich data collections and reporting updates. The 2021-2022 pending submissions. Tables 4, Indicators 7, 8, and 12 should be submitted. Our office is diligently working to get those reports updated and return the results to you. Indicator 11, we are still working on the logic updates, and hopefully you will be able to submit next week. As new issues arises from the test districts, please continue to submit tickets via Enrich Support and CC Special Education Services at ed.sc.gov. There are two scenarios in Enrich for Indicator 7 when it is okay to submit your report with warnings. First, the student was 5 years of age and in kindergarten when they enrolled into your district. And second, the student was 5 years of age and in kindergarten when found eligible for special education services. You must send an email to Special Education Services at ed.sc.gov with the son's ID number and the warning reason. All other instances, you must enter an entry and exit coast date in Enrich, and OSIS will remove them from the final report based on the length of time served. The reports for the 2022-2023 are now open. Remember to update configurations. Table 8, CEIS and Significant Disproportionality. Table 8, Coordinated Early Intervening Services, also known as CEIS. The purpose of this report is to report the number of students in kindergarten through 12th grade who are not currently identified as needing special education or related services, but subsequently went on to be identified as a student with a disability. All districts must submit this report via an Excel spreadsheet to Special Education Services at ed.sc.gov. It is due October 14th, the second Friday in October. Table 8, CEIS Reporting Requirements. All LEAs must report the following: the total number of children receiving CEIS under IDEA in the LEA during the 21-22 school year. That information is reported in column D2, which simply means the total number of children who receive CEIS under IDEA at any point during the course of the reporting year. This is an unduplicated count. A child should be included in this count whether the child received CEIS service and was later determined to be eligible for special education and related services during the same or subsequent reporting year, or was not determined eligible for special education and related services. In column D3, you are to report the total number of children who received CEIS under the IDEA at any time during the past 2 years and received special education and related services in the 21-22 reporting year. This column reports the total number of children who received CEIS at any time in the past 2 school years, including 1920, 2021, and the 21-22 school year, and received special education and related services in 21-22. This also is an unduplicated count. Remember, you should only include those students who receive services using IDEA funds. Significant disproportionality. South Carolina must require any LEA identified as having significant disproportionality or comprehensive coordinated early intervening services, CCEIS, in identification, placement, and/or disciplinary actions to reserve 15% of IDEA Part B Section 611 and 619 funds for CCEIS. Generally, a risk ratio greater than 3.0 for disciplinary actions and 4.0 for identification and placement will trigger a required expenditure of CCEIS funds and applicable requirements. LEAs will be notified annually in the fall if CCEIS expenditures will be required. LEAs are reported to the Office of Special Education Programs, OSEP, the year in which they are required to reserve funds. The Office of Special Education Programs has added a new reporting criteria, which is reporting the number of students who receive services under CCEIS, which is known as significant disproportionality. This report will require us to report the number of students with disabilities as well as without disabilities under CCEIS. Remember to only include those students in which IDEA funds were used to provide services to the students. Although this criteria is not officially included until the 2022-23 reporting year, we are getting an early start by incorporating it into our reports. When determining significant disproportionality for the 2022-2023 school year, the year's data will include 2019-2020, 2020-2021, and the 21-22 reporting years. For identification, ages 3 through 21 includes data from your Table 1 and your 45th day student enrollment count. For placement, ages 6 through 21, which also includes students who are 5 and in kindergarten, we will use your Child Count Table 1 and LRE data. For discipline, ages 3 through 21, we will use the Table 1 Child Count data and your Table 5 discipline data. Tables 1 and 3, Child Count and Least Restrictive Environment, LRE, which is also seen in Indicators 5 and 6. PII and Security Reminder. Please do your best to always protect your students' information. Please do not share students' name in the comments or subject line of an email. Do not use students' names in comments. Please do not send unencrypted personally identifiable information, PII, of students via email. Never use the student's name or other identifiable information in any unencrypted communications. Tables 1 and 3, Child Count and LRE reporting. All students must be entered into Enrich in order to be counted. South Carolina Child Count date is October 26, which is the 4th Tuesday of October. This is not the submission date. This is the snapshot date of active students receiving special education and related services in your district as of October 26. This report includes all students ages 3 through 21. Your submission date is November 5th, the first Friday in November. With so many questions surrounding which IEP to start with when students who have IEPs running across multiple school years, we have incorporated this yes-no flowchart to help assist you so that you can determine which IEP you should start with for those students who are in early childhood and determining whether or not you should start with an school-age IEP or an early childhood IEP, which ultimately will help you to determine which correct LRE code to use. For all of your early childhood, ages 3 through 4 and 5 not in kindergarten, these are your valid LRE categories that should ultimately appear on your final report. If your student is in fact ages 3, 4, and 5 not in kindergarten, you should only see the LRE codes listed on this screen for those students. If you see a school age IEP or school age LRE code listed for an early childhood, you should correct that on your report before submitting to OSIS. Likewise, for school age IEPs, LRE codes, these are the valid school age LRE codes that should appear on your final report before submitting to OSIS. If you have a school age IEP with an early childhood code, you should correct that information before submitting to OSIS. Some reminders for developmental delay. DD is not a valid disability category for students ages 10 or older. DD students should be reassessed by age 9. Unresolved DD students will be removed from your child count report. DD cannot be an initial identification for students ages 8 or 9. These will produce a federal error. Hence, these students will be removed from your report before submission to the Office of Special Education Programs. Table 3, LRE Indicator 5. Indicator 5 data is used from your Child Count Table 3 LRE. It is the data that is used on your profiles for Indicator 5, A, B, and C. 5B is what is used on your determinations for Performance Factor 4. Table 3, LRE Indicator 6. Your Indicator 6 LRE data is used on your profiles for A, B, and C. 6B is used on your determinations Performance Factor 5. Please remember to check age, grade, and LRE for mismatch and correct prior to submitting to OSIS. The age and LRE should match according to the early childhood and school age reporting groups. The OSIS will notify LEAs when cleared to certify. Unresolved DD errors will be removed prior to certification. No blank field should appear in the race, ethnicity, gender, multilingual learners, MLL, and grade levels. If you do have blanks in these areas and are unable to resolve within Enrich, please send an Excel spreadsheet with the correct data to Special Education Services at ed.sc.gov. Parentally Placed Private School Children, PPPSC. PPPSC. The purpose of this report is to assist districts in completing the proportionate share calculation for the annual LEA IDEA grant applications. All districts are required to submit this report via Enrich. This report coincides with your annual child count data and is also due November 4th, which is the first Friday in November. Enrich is currently still working on the logic for this report, so we look forward to having districts to test this report for accuracy prior to submission. PPPSC eligible students. A student is only eligible under IDEA if evaluated and determined to have a disability by an IEP team. They may include the following: children who have been evaluated under General Child Find requirements, children with disabilities who are in public school and transferred to a private school or began homeschooling, or children in private school settings who are identified through Child Find. Without documentation of this determination, the LEA cannot count the student as an eligible private school student. PPPSC eligible student count. This is a cumulative report, so it will include data from previous years. Identification after that will be captured on the next year's report. Students found eligible will continue to be counted until meeting one of the following criteria. Student ages out, the parent refuses evaluation or reevaluation, the student is reevaluated and determined no longer qualified for equitable services, and finally, the student graduates with a high school diploma. Valid PPPSC outcome options. To assist districts and to better align the outcome reason codes, we have incorporated the following outcome codes for the PPPSC report. Consent received PPPSC ISP, consent not applicable, eligible, PPPSC no ISP, consent refused, PPPSC, consent refused, and special education services. Should you have questions about PPPSC, please contact any member listed on the finance team with questions. Marlene Metz, Sarah Garrett, Michelle Williams-Young via email. This is just a reminder that our monthly calls are the third Thursday at 10 a.m. Please feel free to share this information. Our data quality checks for indicators 7, 11, and 12 are November 18th, February 17th, April 14th. Please remember to participate in the data quality checks. You must submit your report via Enrich. Thank you for listening to this recording. If you have any questions as it pertains to data reporting and collection, please feel free to contact any member of our team. Thank you.